Here I am, Beyonce, a.k.a. Morpheus. And you are now listening to the Academy of Wow Man. However you want to put it together. Wowman, woman. But it is wow, man. And here I need you to anticipate and participate in this vital discussion that has been long overdue about men, per se. And it's nothing negative. You see the title. I'm not even going to waste my time with you. Toxic male. What is a toxic male? But there is a side title to this that I couldn't actually squeeze in. I think I put it up there somewhere. And it is a man's pride. Now, if you don't realize, this is actually going to answer a lot of your questions. If you are, let's put it like this, red-pilled. You are peeled, right? You know about the Crimson Capsule, or if you MGTOW, or if you understand the differences between beta, alpha, and an imp, okay? And men who keep failing themselves and making mistakes, this is going to pretty much outline a lot. This is going to answer a lot of your questions, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be 80 to 90% correct. The only thing that's going to be different is depends on how this man is raised, where he come from, what type of hood he reigned from, or town, country, city, or Georgia Street. Okay? But this is going to help you. And a lot of this as well will explain a lot of men in Hollywood. Although they live a different, what I mean by Hollywood is not really Hollywood themselves. We could say famous guys, famous men, actors and rappers and people who are up there who don't know too much about the R pill because they live a different lifestyle. You gotta understand, they live a different world over there with a lot of money and a lot of clout. You know, they got enough money to practically burn and rent private jets, helicopters, and things like that. You know, famous people. You have The Rock or maybe Vin Diesel and other men who are up there in other areas. That doesn't mean they are above us. What I mean by up there, meaning they are most sought after, or they're very famous, or they're very well known in the clout level. Okay. So I'm going to discuss some attributes here that I can pretty much describe in detail the very important parts of a man that can either make him toxic or it's going to make him full of pride where it's going to require pain to adjust his mind. Now, the first and foremost that I have learned and that I know of as being a very outspoken and very wise man in the society, there are two things about men that I understand that straightens them out, which is why we give them hard love, right? This is why sometimes when we're discussing men, this is why sometimes when you may hear other content creators or other men talk about other men, we're not talking bad about men. We're not putting men down. No, we have to speak to men directly because men have a thing called hard-headed. They can be hard-headed, very stubborn most times, and pretty much stuck in their ways. And a lot of this stems from pride, which I'm going to discuss in just a minute. There's reasons why. And pride is going to be one of the number one things, and we're going to talk about that. But just know that the reason why it's difficult to discuss things with men on often is because of these factors I'm going to discuss. So in your society, wherever you are, wherever you're doing, usually it is the female who's going to be applicable or compliant or someone flamboyant in her decisions or her ways, not just because of the multiple options that she may have, but because of how she deals with her life going towards the internal intuition or her social abilities that she may have. But men have to depend on a different a different sort of tools in his tool chest, which is logic and experience. And when he deals with things with logic and experience, that doesn't mean it's correct. Oftentimes, sometimes he's only doing it because in his mind, it is the either manly thing to do, or there's this pride and this rigid hard-headedness that will constantly get him in trouble. And amongst this, oftentimes, the worst man that you can encounter, not only, first of all, I told you this before in one of our audios, the worst man that you can encounter, which is the most dangerous, is a white knight beta. He's the most dangerous because he will attack you based on emotions or based on how his mommy raised him. So it's always going to be an issue. And oftentimes he's not going to understand why. He's going to go by the programming. Okay. And then you have the other type of guy. There's several of them. I'm just naming like at least 2 or 3 of them, which he's been raised in a rough society. He's been raised aggressively. He's been hurt when he was a kid, or all he knew was violence. All he knew was to run with the gangs and to be this tough little boy who grew up to be a hard-headed man. And again, it doesn't mean that they're right. They just going by their hard wiring within themselves, usually to be rigid. And I'm going to go a step further before I continue on. This is one of the reasons why they wanted to get rid of men from the home. This is one of the reasons why the scheme of destroying American families and to replace the man with other factions of the judicial system is because men on the often, if they get their head straight and they use their logic and they are doing things the correct way, I didn't say right or wrong, just the correct way of doing things, he's going to be able to maintain his home. He's going to be rigid in decisions. He's going to be the leader. He's going to be the police officer. He's going to be the judge, and he's going to be the boss at home, who's going to be keeping the home together like screws in the wall. But in order to destroy the family, they had to remove the male and dislodge him, disconnect him from the family, make him insignificant, make him just usable, make him a pack mule, create this man to be easily manipulated by the judicial system or by the unfair balanced divorce court system. And of course, the list goes on. Always at least 80 to 90% giving the child unto the mother and disconnecting this man, understanding in psychology. And as a matter of fact, they knew. Listen, and I want you to listen carefully. It's not like they didn't know what was going to happen. They knew what would happen if they gave the power of the paternity, or what do you call that, guardianship over the child over to the mother. They knew what would happen. They knew what would happen if they interfered with the average American family or the average family. That's not just America, but it's going on across the world. They knew what would happen. There will be a distortion. There will be a destruction. There will be a manipulation eventually. One person's going to want to take power for themselves and run to Mexico. And we see it every day all the time. Or you end up with this Amber Alert situation because the father just wants to spend time with the child. And so after a couple of hours or a couple of days or something like that, the mother want to cry Amber Alert when it's just the father spending time with his daughter or his son. But you know what? The system or the judicial system knew that was going to happen because what it does is it keeps them in power. I'm telling you nothing but the truth. This is nothing but the truth. Okay? But I'm going to give you a story, though. I'm going to go further and talk about some other things that we can relate to a stubborn man, a man who isn't in the correct sense of being and a correct sense of mind. And I'm going to start with the movie Cars, and the main character being Lightning McQueen. We're going to start right there. In this particular animation movie, every car character that was in this movie, that is the voiceovers, which was the males, they played a very important role in this movie. Each character, if you notice, if you're paying attention, they put a lot of psychology into this animated movie. and it made a couple of hits, and it was, and you should know this already, it's a very famous, very popular movie amongst kids, and if you're an adult, you watched it too. It was good for adults too, because you can get a laugh out of it from Mater and other cars that were there. But every male car that was in the movie really did play a role of multiple men that exist. Like multiple men act a certain way, and they behave a certain way, they talk a certain way, whether they're masculine or sensitive, to the car that was called Doc, to the car that was the police officer, to the car that actually the fire truck and the old T model. I think that was the female, or you could say the military SUV that was there. Anyhow, the two main that stuck out of this, not only was it Lightning McQueen, but I'm going to talk to you about another car that visited there in the van that I'm going to remind you of. First of all, Lightning McQueen in the beginning was full of pride. He was full of somewhat zealousness, and he thought he can do everything on his own. Just imagine this being your average 20 to 30-year-old guy who thinks he knows everything, and he's just what you call hot shot, right? You can't tell him from dusk to dawn. And he had no friends because he thought he can make it through the finish line. You remember when he tried to make it through the finish line and he didn't want his pit crew? He thought he could do it by himself, and he busted the tire and almost forfeit the race. He almost lost because of it. You remember that? And he got rid of the pit crew, the pit crew abandoned him because of his rebelliousness. Because of his pride, because he didn't want to work with them. So that's the average male when he's resistant. He's too rigid in his ways. He's stuck in his own idea, even if it's wrong. His mindset is, well, I'm a man. I'm a man. This is what I do just because I'm a man. Okay, man. Don't mean anything. Just because you're a man, don't mean you are perfect. That doesn't mean that you're making the right decision. It doesn't equate to anything. And I'm going to get on that in just a moment. Because I've came across plenty of, I'm going to say males, because there's a variation of male. What kind of male are you? You can be a boy male or you can be a man male. Okay? But there's plenty of males that will immediately say, well, I'm doing this because I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm making a failure, but I'm a man. I'm doing it because I'm a man. I got to provide for myself because I'm a man. I'm tough because I'm a man. I'm doing it because I'm a man. Let me tell you something, man. I'm going to describe something to you. Actually, I'm going to give you a new name, bozo, not man, boy, in a male's body who you think you are a man. Let me tell you something. Okay, the Reaper don't care about how old you are, what gender you are, whether you are a male or you are some species unknown to the planet. You understand? Nor does you being put 6 feet underneath the ground is not going to be biased, nor is it prejudice to what type of person that you are. So you know what? You can shut the hell up with that BS. Shut the hell up with that BS, because a lot of times when a male is talking about I'm a man, oftentimes they can't even describe what a man is. Oftentimes, they don't even know what a man should do as a man if he identifies as a man. A lot of times, again, I'm saying a lot of times again, repeat, wash, rinse, and repeat. A lot of times, many of times, multiple times. The majority of the time, when I'm having a discussion with most people or counseling them, whenever I ask them about what decision, why did they make a decision? Why did they make such a foolish idea? Why didn't they listen to their fathers or their, maybe even their wife or their kids or some other person, or maybe even the doctor when the doctor's trying to warn them to do something, cut back on your sugar or lower your calories and get rid of the carbs and this sort of that sort of. You know what this male would say? Well, I'm a man, and because I'm a man, I make decisions, and it don't matter because I'm a man. All right, man, because when you look at the gravesite, have you ever driven past a gravesite or walked past a gravesite? Do you see how many tombstones there are? It's as far as you can see. Okay? And when you're looking at them, unless they can have a bow on the outside of it, or maybe some flowers, or maybe in a unique situation, maybe the tombstones might be pink. Okay, you can't tell which one is male, female, dog, cat, bird, child, or adult. They are all not here. They are all in the afterlife. Those are all pretty much most times gray tombstones. So again, shut your mouth. It doesn't equate to anything. And most times when they tell me, well, I made the decision because I'm a male, you know what I tell them? This is what I tell them most times. And what is that supposed to mean? Oh, you're going to convince me because you're a male, you're a man, you made this decision. Honestly, you're a fool. That's what you are. Because I'm going to outline something, because that's a lot of times, and we can flip the script and talk about women on this one, but I'm on you today. This is your turn to be put in the oven, because I hold you accountable. As a matter of fact, I hold men more accountable than I do women, because women look up to you as leaders. A lot of time, the majority of them, listen, regardless of how America is running, or the modern day, the majority, if you lined up every woman on this goddamn planet, the majority will win. The majority of them will say that I'm pretty much sure about that. I haven't done it. Of course I can't. I don't have the power to do it. Or you can do the vote on it. The majority would say they will prefer the man to lead. They'll prefer for the man to be the provider. They'll prefer for men to be the ones to protect them. They will prefer that over anything else. And it's always been that since the generation, to the beginning of time, since time have existed. So I hold men more responsible than I ever hold anything else responsible for the way that the world operates today. So if you are responsible to lead the next generation in a certain direction, you're going to be held to that candle. So anyhow, you know the story of Lightning McQueen and Cars, where Lightning McQueen had to be humbled. Let me see. I think all right, I'm going to go ahead and, because that was a word that I didn't mean to use ahead of time, because it's almost equivalent as humility. Humility is different, but humble is part of it's a strong word there. So I want you to think about that. Humble. He had to be humbled by his situation. Because remember, Lightning McQueen thought he couldn't be touched. Remember, he didn't need anybody. Oh, I'm tough. Because imagine Lightning McQueen. I'm a man. Look at me. I got a lightning strike on the side of my vehicle. I can cha-chow. Remember he used to say that? Cha-chow. Ka-chow. Now, there it is. Ka-chow. Every time he said something that was clever or classy, right? So he ended up getting stuck over there in what's that place called Radiator Springs. And he had to meet real people. He had to meet real people with real problems. He had to realize that his fame, his glory, his days in the popular light was over in that particular morning. He was forced to be humbled. He was forced to accept the way that things really are, where his space bubble was practically busted right before his face. You remember, he was chained down to that machine Betsy because he had to repair the road because he destroyed it. And then there was the doc and the police that kept him from going anywhere. And then, of course, he couldn't get away from the guy named Mater, the truck Mater. Remember him with the 2 teeth? You can call me Mater. She just want me for my body. And Portia, the pretend attorney, right, who opened up his mentality to the other sense of reality. It was a very, very good animation that showed a lot. There was a lot to be had in that one. It was a lot if you was paying attention. But moving on to the next character is the 2 travelers that came through Radiator Springs. That was before Lightning McQueen was found out that because he was popular, so they had to come and search for him. But before they found out that he was in Radiator Springs and the helicopter and everything came to get him, he was still stuck there when the visitors came through. And it was the 2 vans. Remember that? The married couple? And he was lost when he was there. The male. This is the character I'm talking about. This is Pride. and arrogance. Listen. Or no, pride and ego. Okay. Now, there's two other things that's vital to the man. That's part of the list because you're going to hear me say that again. Okay. So as they were driving through Radiator Springs, of course, bouncing on the newly paved road that Lightning McQueen barely fixed, the wife kept saying, "Honey, you're lost. Do you need a map, honey? Honey, you should stop and get a map. Hey, Mel. Hey, boy in a male's body. Hey, why don't you should stop and get some help. I mean, look at the pretty lady over there. You see the fire? You can get washed too by the fire truck. Let's ask questions and you notice everybody in Radiator Springs were trying to help these couple, and they was talking to the van, which was of course the guy. Is hey, you need an oil change, man. This is the best oil here. It's some organic stuff, right? The van with the flashy colors that indicated a hippie type of guy. And of course, the other lady was trying to give him stickers. The older lady in the tea kettle type of vehicle. And of course, Luigi wanted to help him change his tires. Everybody came out to service this married couple. And listen, here's where the limelight is. This is where your focus point is. Listen, the male didn't want to listen. The male van, pride and arrogance, pride and ego. He didn't want to listen. Remember what he said? Oh, I know where I'm going. I don't need none of that stuff. Let's just keep on going. Nah, these are strange people around here. Right? And he made it. I mean, they pretty much drove straight through Radiator Springs and didn't get what they needed. But I can imagine if the man, here's another word, here it comes. If he brought his ego down a little bit, and put his pride on the shelf and just asked for help, ladies and gentlemen, if he just listened to his wife, if he just said, okay, maybe I'm lost, I'm going to stop and ask for instructions, then they would have been the first people to set, you could say foot, but you could say tires in Radiator Springs, which have been abandoned for years. They would have been the first to get new stickers. They would have been first to meet all the great people that were there before they got put back on the map and became popular because of Lightning McQueen being there. But because of this male's ignorance, because of his ego, because of his pride, they missed out on a very golden opportunity. You see how deep that movie was? Do you see? Even if it was funny, even if it was meant to be for entertainment, there was some education to see there, because that's how men truly are. Oftentimes, the majority of them, not all of them, but most of them. Enough of them for me to make this audio, at least. If it wasn't a problem, I won't be sitting here talking to you about this if it wasn't an issue. It'll be a minority, not the majority. Okay? So just think about that. If you've watched a movie, or if you haven't, look it up. It's Lightning McQueen. I mean, it's Cars. Cars 1, not Cars 2. Cars 1, and the main character, Lightning McQueen. If you know much about it, you'll say, oh, okay, I get it. I see exactly what he means. That's how men are. And sometimes they have to be brought down. And before I continue, there's something that men do not encounter today that they used to encounter. And I'm going to tell you what that is. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's reasons why a lot of men have a lot of ego and have a lot of pride as well. And what humbles a man, like I said, not only is it straight talk, not is it's hard love that you got to deal with men. Sometimes the reason why men are physically capable of damage, the reason why men are tough, they have tougher skin or thicker density, because sometimes it's almost like beating on the side of a television screen. There used to be a television a long time ago in an antique shop, now I'm sure, that was a floor model television before flat screens. It was like a box, almost like you see a refrigerator, but it was very small. It was called a TV box, something like that. And when the reception was bad, or when you couldn't see the TV screen would become hazy and fuzzy. What happened was you'd have to beat on the side of it. You got to hit the side of the television, and it will adjust it and fix it temporarily, because there was either a short on the inside of it, or missing pieces, or however they put it together. But most likely it was a short that just needed to be fixed. And the tube was kind of odd and pretty cheap. sometimes men can be like that. Sometimes I'm not condoning violence. I'm not saying that you should get into a fight, but men are capable of that. Oftentimes men in the old days before now used to get socked in the mouth, or it's called fisticuffing. We didn't talk as much as we do today. Men would say, oh, you want to talk some stuff? We're going to go outside and I'm going to dust you off like you dust a rug, or I'm about to dust this rug. Wife, just sit in here and make us some lemonade. We're getting ready to step outside. We're going to go in the backyard for a few minutes. When a man tells you we're going to go in the backyard for a few minutes, it was universally, or you could say socially known and popular. That means y'all getting ready to go outside and scuff it up a little bit. We're going to put the whiskey bottles down. We ain't going to sit here and argue and talk like little girls. I'm going to take you outside and we're going to do some real life UFC. And I'm going to show you, I can show you better than I can tell you that you are a damn fool. A lot of men didn't talk. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of men didn't talk the stuff they talk today. There was no, you can say council culture. There was no hide behind a screen. There weren't no, oh, I'm going to talk about you and get away with it. There was no, I'm going to have beef in a debate across the table. The beef was outside and it was squashed because it was a reality check that adjusted them quite quickly, where they realized where they stood in the manosphere. So they didn't talk a lot of stuff. So a lot of times today, men talk crap because they don't have a fist in their throat. They don't feel the air rushing from their lungs as they are being lifted off the ground, feet first, and some of them head first, and being laid back down on earth in a matter of seconds, where they can't say anything because they just been body slammed from the moon back down to earth. So they can't say after that. So you will find, and you have encountered it, I'm sure you have, and some of you men have encountered it too, where it's even worse, where a 20-year-old boy, or maybe even a 17-year-old boy in a male's body will talk crazy to a 32-year-old male. The 32-year-old male could be a martial artist, or a black belt, or a red belt, or trained in the military. He could be, an ex-officer or someone like that. He could be special operations. And this 17-year-old boy would get in this person's face and start talking spit because the way society is. The society softens up these boys, in male's body. And it takes away reality, where they don't understand how real life really is until they meet that danger face to face, until they got to go outside and really get dusted up. That's not the same for women. Women have a different reality that I don't need to discuss on this audio. But for men, that was usually the medicine. The medicine wasn't discipline. No. We ain't going to put your face in the corner. There was no, I'm going to give you time out. Or I'm going to take your toys away from you. Give me your Android. Give me your Apple phone. I'm going to take that away. I'm going to take your laptop away. I'm going to take your video game away from you. You're not going to eat for a week. No. And no. Even the father or the grandfather would say, you know what? Let's go outside. We're getting ready to step outside. There was no talking. He'd get that leather belt off of the wall and say, son, let's go outside. That was it. Problem solved. No court system. No judge involved. The police officers did not need to go over there and put the little boy in handcuffs and throw him in juvenile or boys' school, because you know what? The father wore that ass out. So therefore, they grow up and they think they know everything, and they see a couple of pieces of hair on their chest and some peach fudge on their chin, and because they probably got their first lay at 18 from some ratchet, loose for the streets teenager raised up by a single mom, and are got around a whole bunch of other boys who was misled and misraised, they think they can take on the world and take on other older men, older experienced men. So to continue on with this before I get on to the list, The prison is full of men who said, my father wasn't there, or my father wasn't around enough, or my father didn't teach me that, or even my mother didn't put me in that situation, or I thought I could run with a gang, or I thought it was like a video game where I could just go out there and sling this pistol around carelessly and think that I'm on some Grand Theft Auto. And then they end up being clapped down by the judicial system, by the law. They would tell you that all the time, or they would reminisce on their past life, and they would say, you know what, if I had a father, if I had better parents, or if I had listened to my father, or if I was obedient, I would not be spending life in prison. I would not be spending 6 years in prison, 1 year in prison. Even a day in prison is enough to do damage on a person's psychology, on their mind. You know, heck, when you go through the processing and whatever paperwork and fingerprints and pictures and stuff that they do, if they let you out on the first day, that's enough to get you straight. That'll be enough to make you realize, oh, I'm not getting ready to do this again. Oh, no. You just dodged a bullet. However lucky that you was, maybe somebody paid your bail, I can't even say it, your bail bond, or maybe some universal alien, because I never say God, and I will not say God. You will not find me saying God. Some species from some other planet decided to come down here and save your ratchet ass from actually spending the entire 7 or 6 years in prison. So therefore, they had to learn the hard way. Do you understand what I'm saying? It may not be that they've been body slammed or taken outside and beat like a dirty broomstick. Okay, it may not be like that. They was straightened out in other ways. Life had to straighten them out in different matters that corrected them, which may not have been anything based on fisticuffing, but it was psychologically a reality check. Sometimes that's how men operate, or getting their license taken from them, or not being able to drive because they had plenty of DUIs or something like that. Right? Whatever the case may be, they will find out the hard way. But it's funny because a lot of men go down that path because of their hard wiring. And the psychologists in your society, the systems in your society, which I dare not say, and you already know, understood and they overstood your psychology. They know about the engineering of the female and the male. They can't tell you they did not know that the corruption of the world wasn't going to be here. They knew it was going to be here. They ordained it to be here. They programmed it to be here because they understand how men operate and they know how females operate. And the way they destroyed you, once again, to repeat myself, to put this on facts, is to remove the male from the home, to make sure that you permanently have a generational issue, or this male, or possibly some females, but we're talking about males here, is going to grow up with a problem. If you think I'm playing with you, if you think I'm lying to you, do your own damn research and figure it out for yourself. Look at the court systems, look at the criminal justice system, and check out who's in prison, and you have a conversation with them yourself. They'll tell you for themselves, yes, if I had my father there, my father told me. He wasn't enough. He wasn't around enough. Or the father was a criminal himself, or doing wrong. Told you, generational destruction made purposely. It wasn't like, well, I'm trying to keep the family together, and I can imagine. And I'm not saying any judge's name because I don't know them by name, so I'm not putting anybody on blast. So don't blame me for whatever you think you know. That's your personal experience. If it calls out to you, maybe that's the universe speaking to you directly. But it's very rarely that I've known and I've seen, well, you know, the father does need to be in the family. And why are you trying to get rid of the dad? The dad is the backbone of the family, and he should be there for the child. No, he did take them here, and he was there. And why are you trying? No, no. It's more or less, well, he don't need to be there. Who's going to be paying child support? Who's paying alimony? Let's be done with it, because I have other people that need to come in the courtroom and to go ahead and take the paperwork and be done with it. Forget about all trying to put you together. It's always, well, I'm going to go ahead and the child's going to go to the mother because it's just the way it is in this state. Chuck it up. Find another woman, or just go ahead and deal with it and spend your your daily visitation that you're supposed to, and just call it done. That's what's been common. Because it's not like it's not possible for the father to stay in the family. When you shift the power over to the other person, when you shift power in corruptible hands, that power is going to be corrupted. That sounds like America. Now I'm going to go down the list because it's pretty humid out here and I'm sweating a lot. Okay. Now here we go. These are the essential 9 steps, or you could say 9 lives of a male. No, I'm not calling him a cat. Okay, I don't stand by the 9 lives thing, whatever all that's about. It's just, we're not childish here in this academy of wow men. We are real over here. We don't do superstition and myth and tradition. We face the facts. Take your childish ass somewhere else. But you could look at it as the 9 lives of a male. But look at these more like the 9 essential elements of a male that can determine what type of guy he really is and are consequences that he may and will encounter should he ignore his principles. The number one thing is pride. Yes, pride. And as we all know as adults, too much of something can be destructive, right? So you can have a modest amount. So we're not going to go and say if it's a lot or if it's a little, okay? Because that's going to make this audio too long. It's going to be unnecessary. So let's grow up here and realize what I'm talking about. Okay, let's just be general here. I don't care how much it is. You know, if it's too much, it's not going to be good. If it's little, we can adjust that. We can get around that and figure out how we could function. Okay. But the number one thing is pride. Pride is destructive. And a lot of men have a pride that either makes them or it breaks them. And it is either going to be the thing that's going to put them away forever. That means they're not going to be in the land of the living, or it's going to cause them to have constant destruction and problems in their life. A lot of men don't realize how much pride they have. Pride keeps them from being, let's just say it's going to be in this list. Okay. For now, let's just say pride is a man's destructive agent. It's like a disease. If you lower that pride to a controllable energy, as you can say, and a controllable energy, and keep it underneath a modest wraps where he can still function on real life and be open-minded, then that would be a different story. Then it will no longer be pride. It's going to be something else. You see where I'm getting at? It's going to be something else. That's why this other thing is going to be in the list. It's going to describe what happens when you relinquish a little bit of pride and let it go. The second thing, arrogance. Remember, I applied all this to Lightning McQueen. Arrogance. Arrogance is the destruction of a man. Arrogance is what causes men to do dangerous things to other men because they want to get back at them, or, oh, you embarrassed me, or, oh, you can't outdo me. Oh, I'm gonna prove to you that I can get that girl that you got. In so many words, I'm gonna get this $1,000 table, or this $5,000 table, just to prove that I can. Arrogant. And then you got people around here trying to talk to him. He's like, nah, man, I got it, man. I got it all covered because I'm the big dog around here. Arrogant. Arrogance is a destructive thing. I can even go as far as say it's probably somewhat worse than pride, because pride can be modifiable. Arrogance, the more you have of it, is almost like taking an extra shot of a 151, and it just messes you up further until you black out. Arrogance is what make people, that word is hate. They don't like you. They want to be away from you. They'll think that you're a Mr. Know-it-all, that you can't be spoken to because you think you the big shot. Okay. The third thing up there on the list is ego. Men have a unhealthy amount of ego, especially today. ego is that thing that causes or would cause a 17-year-old to think that he's capable of taking on that 32-year-old that's well trained, well capable of doing great harm to him. But because his mother never taught him how to have self-control, and he was the only boy in a male's body at home, and the father was barely there or not there, or maybe oftentimes the father himself would overly invest in his son to make the son think that he's the toughest male in the universe. Because some fathers do that. Some fathers lie to their sons and daughters. Yeah. And this right here could extend to a larger lesson. But if you're listening to what I'm saying and not hearing me, this as well is the generational idiocy that men can do and not know it. Because of that father being full of pride and full of arrogance and ego, he will raise his sons up to do the same thing. Or he'll tell his sons, well, you ought to do this. And, you as a man, you're supposed to do this. And you're supposed to, because you're a man, you should. And the father don't realize that he's building this boy up to be a negative rock. You can be a rock, but you can be a rock that can be sinking in the bottom of the ocean as well. Pale, okay, without breathing. Because in life, you have to learn how to be, you have to compromise. And I'm going to go down, it's in the list again. I have to say that. In existence, you have to modify your mind. You have to be like water, like Bruce Lee said. If you adjust yourself like water, you can survive. You get a mold to every situation and not be so against the grain, because I'm a man. Because I'm a man. I like to listen to you. So if the fathers overdo their investment by overly boosting these boys' egos, especially at a young age, they'll grow up thinking that they're a macho man. And then they become, like in most cases, especially if it's the mom doing that, oh, you're the best, you're the king, you're the king. You run the house because there's no father here, and he's telling her what to do, who she can date and not date, who he approves of. That ends up boosting his ego until somebody comes and take that pin and pops that balloon, and then there she go crying in the middle of the street because somebody had to put the mutt down. And when I say mutt, I'm not calling the boy a mutt. It's a figure of speech. So don't say that, oh, Morpheus called my son a mutt. I don't know your son, so you can say it all you want to. I didn't name anybody. It's an expression, especially for rabid dogs. And they say you got to put the dog down. That means the dog is dangerous. It's destructive. They had to put it down. That's the best way of saying that they had to eliminate a problem. Okay, so get your facts straight. Either way it goes, you don't want someone to come along and have to straighten out your mistake because you kept on beefing up this boy's ego, his pride, and his arrogance. Now, we're going to go ahead and go on to the next chapter, and this is going to be a lot lighter. Now we're going to start going to other things that is a part of the man if he applies himself by lessening the pride, being careful of the arrogance, tampering down his ego, and I'm going to talk about it here, which I told you was already in the list. So let me go ahead and say it for you. The word is humbled and humility. Now, I'm going to, I don't know who Webster is, but I'm going to go through the Webster's dictionary here as I'm doing it now. We do it live. So I'm typing in humility. See if it comes up. Man, it comes up. Uh-oh, ladies and gentlemen. Uh-oh, wait a minute. It says in the first paragraph, freedom from pride or arrogance. Holy I'm on to something. You can't tell me I'm wrong. You can't tell me that I am wrong. Listen. The quality or state of being humble. Accepted the honor with humility. Then, of course, it continues on to the synonyms and the antonyms and all that great stuff. We're going to keep going down an example and all that. First known use in the 4th century. Pretty awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Your professor is on to something. There you go. Facts. Facts. There's something, and I'm going to use the word. No, I'm not interested in same sex. I got three companions, and I'm very happy with them. Okay, and they're happy with me. And I really hate putting myself in this. I hate talking about myself. I really do. I really don't like talking about myself. But usually I find it to be the only way to convey to you what I know as a man. I didn't say male, I said man, because I'm a normal man. Okay. From what I've been through, what I know of. Okay. So it still applied to me years ago, but now I know better. Okay. The word is beautiful. Have you ever heard of somebody call a man beautiful? And you don't usually call a man beautiful. Beautiful doesn't really comply to a man. It's usually used for a woman. But if you really want to know what that means, outside of the visual, when a man is called beautiful, like that's a beautiful man, what they're saying is, well, I'm going to give you context and you can figure it out. A humble man who have the ability to destroy you, but refrain from it. The ability to gloat and to ride on his ego, to be arrogant, even if it's valid for him to be arrogant that he won the trophy, that he won by 50 points, or it was a blowout, or he arm wrestled the champion of the world and won right in the first round. He can be arrogant, but he's humble. He's humble. He has an amount of humility where it doesn't show. He's calm with it. So what happens is you may hear somebody say, that's a beautiful man. He's not beautiful by having makeup and cute and all that. No. He's a beautiful man because he's masculine. He may be strong, or he may be capable of doing damage or gloating or walking around with pride, but yet he's calm. He's understanding. He's open-minded. He's very modest in his behavior, which is another word if you want to add to it, but I didn't do it. He's very modest in his stance. So it makes him, you can say handsome, which is fine. But beautiful man is a step different. It's something odd. It's something that, well, I'm sure you heard it before, but it brings a different twist to it. It's a different ting to it because it's magical. It's very magical because it's almost like, it's like this. There's a difference between having confidence and you're humble. See, you can be confident with what you're saying and what you're doing, but when it comes time for somebody else to speak, you're quiet and you listen. You're very attentive. You're very focused. You're giving your table or whoever else is speaking a chance to voice their opinion, to voice their side, even if you could be domineering, even if you can be loud, you can get out of place, but and you listen. You give them a chance to either sidestep or to speak directly to you. It's often displayed when there's an argument. When there's an argument and this man doesn't display his full potential. He doesn't slam it down with one hand. He's not fully aggressive with it, but he's willing to walk the other direction. It's almost like, let me give you an example of a trained UFC fighter, right? Who's 6 feet tall, 300 some pounds. And he's been doing it for a long time, for several years, actually. And he won a couple of belts. And somebody out of the crowd, some –, common guy who's a beta who just want to talk crazy, right? says that he wants to challenge this UFC fighter just for the fun of it. And the UFC fighter says, yeah, sure, come on, let's go. Let's go in the ring. Let's do it. And everybody's chanting him on, and whoever the strange guy is jumps into the ring. And you see the difference where this UFC fighter is muscular. This average guy look like he can be broken by a female, right? I mean, you can pretty blow on him and he'll just fall over the ring and out of it. But the UFC fighter still gives him a chance. Once, here we go, humble. He's humbling himself. Humbling. And the other guys is talking crap and just yelling at, oh, man, you ain't going to do nothing, man. I'm going to get you, man, in the first round, and I'm going to knock you out. Your moves are fake, man. Your punches are like sissies, man. You know, you ain't doing up here, man. And the UFC fighter, listen carefully. Instead of engaging him in this banter, instead of attacking him with full fight and full-fledged training and potential, because he can probably break his neck, you know what he does? He let this guy talk. Listen. He let this guy talk and speak. And while they're exchanging blows, the UFC fighter is only hitting him at maybe, let's say 25% of his strength, or 50. Okay? Because a lot of them aren't as strong as you think they are. So I'm not trying to put them on a pedestal. But they could be hitting them with just less force than what they're capable of, not to really hurt this untrained civilian or commoner. Okay? And while he's hitting this person and letting the other person kick him and grapple him and, you know, push him and all that type of stuff, he's allowing this thing to happen. And here comes the beautiful part where he becomes a beautiful man. Here's the definition here. Now, he can win if he wants to. He can pin this person down and say, oh, it's over. Right. 1, 2, 3. And let the man walk away and feel glad that he tasted the floor or the canvas or whatever the material is. Right. You know, oh, he put me in a headlock. Oh, yes. You know, he knocked me out. Yay. You know, sign my stars that are around my head. You know, something like that. But the man lets him win, or he allows this person who's not as strong as he is to take him down. You know, maybe it's for the crowd, but most likely it's for the person that jumped in the ring to make him feel good and have a good experience that he stepped in the ring with a trained fighter, right? Even though he could have won, he gave this man opportunity. And the beautiful part, here it is. I know I'm beating around the bush. He becomes beautiful because guess what happens? He allows this guy to gloat. The guy who jumped in the ring, who's not a trained fighter, began to talk crap. Yeah, man, I got you down, man. You was weak, man. You know, I knew I could beat you. You know, you was talking all this stuff, man. I told you your fighting was fake. Right? And instead of the UFC fighter standing his ground and correcting him and saying, well, you know, I'll let you win, or you know, you got lucky, or I could have did something else, and, you know, it just try to stand his ground in his stance, he'll just keep smiling and let it go on. Oh, it don't matter. You know, he lets his man gloat and talk and enjoy his fake victory. But his trainers and the UFC fighter himself and everybody who really knows this guy, they know that he let this civilian get a pass and let him talk stuff. Probably even got in his face and pointing his chest. Yeah, man, let's do it, man. Yeah, man, you ain't nobody. And let him do it. This man becomes a beautiful man. He humbled himself. Humility. That's the same as everything in a man's life. It could be when it comes to cars. Excuse me. Voice is getting dry. When it comes to cars, when it comes to gloating what you got, your finances, maybe even women, maybe even your lifestyle, or if he goes out to a bar and he buys a table, whatever it is, or in debating or conversation, oftentimes the one who humbles themselves and is willing to take a pass, even if they can dominate, even when they can win, even if they can prove that they're right, if they decide to just pull back just a little bit, that humility brings in the beauty of the situation. It brings an excellence to this man that he can apply to every measure of his life. If men gained a sense of humbleness and humility, there's something else that will come behind it and ties perfectly into it: being meek. Being meek doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you are less aggressive. Let's go to the Webster Dictionary again. Let's see if I'm on to something. I'm going to Webster right now, and Webster says M-E-A-K. That's Meek, right? Or M-E-E-K? Look at me, I can't even speak. Spell. Oh my goodness. It's actually M-E-E-K. Anyhow, just playing with you. Enduring. Listen. Oh, shoot. Enduring injury. Patience and without resentment. Do you see that? Enduring injury with patience and without resistance. Mild. He's rather mild. Or you could say not so aggressive. Just like what I said. He endures. That doesn't mean that you're weak. You're enduring your suffering. This man is enduring whatever the situation he is, just like the UFC fighter. He just enduring this man's his false sense of victory and letting him gloat. The guy will probably put it on YouTube or put it on social media or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or something. Say, yeah, man, I beat this UFC fighter. I body slammed him, man. Yeah, man, I knocked him out. You don't know I fought that guy who was a 3-time champion? But you know what? The champion himself would not say anything about it because he knows the truth. All his followers will know the truth. His trainer will probably whisper in his ear or someone else's ear, say, sir, you just got saved. You just got a pass. We gave you an opportunity to taste real victory instead of tasting blood in your mouth. Are y'all following me? Are you following me so far? Okay. Now here comes the last 3. I think I've spoken about, what was that? 5 already? I'm going to go down the list again anyway. Here's number 6. I could be wrong. Yeah, I've spoken about 6 already. 6. Number 7, open to learn. A lot of men will say as well, I've been doing it for 50 years, man. You can't tell me what to do, whatever that they're doing, whatever career that they're at. They're a mechanic, they're a boss, they're a CEO, or they've been working on cars, or they've been working on airplanes, or they know how to make clothes, or they're a rapper, singer, whatever it is. A lot of men have this thing, this ego in their mind where they think if they've done it for 12 years, they're professional. Did you know, dummy and Jack? I ain't gonna say. I'm gonna be nice. Y'all know what I was getting ready to say. Let me put it like this to be nice. Did you know, Mr. Idiot, that you could be doing it for 12 years or even 30 years the wrong way? That's no different than that visitor that was driving through Radiator Springs on the cars. He probably was used to going his own way, doing his own thing without a map. He probably was used to just drifting along the countryside, but you did realize that he was lost. As a matter of fact, there was an expressway that he was trying to find, but he accidentally found Radiator Springs because he was absolutely and obviously lost. It was a good luck that he got lost and found Radiator Springs, but he was nonetheless wrong. So just because you've been a firefighter for 30 years, just because you've been a chief of police for 25 years, just because you've been a nurse for 15 years, just because you've been a judge for 15 years, just because you've been doing something for a long damn time, don't mean that you've been doing it right, and it don't mean that you're a professor at what you do, and it don't mean that you haven't made any mistakes. You know what? You can shut the hell up with that BS. Life is to be learned every day, and there's always something new to learn every day because there's always a new development. There's always a new idea. There's always an evolution. There's always another way of doing things. And sometimes, even if it's working, you don't want to come up with this dumb idea where we don't want to recreate the wheel. I hear a lot of men full of arrogance and pride say that too. Well, I don't want to recreate the wheel. Dummy. Listen, dummy. Dummy. Are you listening to me, dummy? Huh, dummy? Listen up, dummy. Listen to the professor, dummy. You're not recreating the wheel. You have to polish yourself daily. You have to be prepared daily to be open-minded. You have to modify your thinking daily, because daily there is a challenge. Just because you've done something for 20 years don't mean that you are a master at what you do, because it can change overnight. And as a matter of fact, one mistake can ruin the 20 years that you've been doing. So shut it up. Shut it up. Shut it up. It can be one day that'll it will be one day that will be the biggest day out of your 20 years. Just for your ignorance. Oh, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm good at it. Yeah, brain surgeons can tell you that too, and doctors. Oh yeah, I've been a doctor for 30 years, man. I know exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, snip the wrong artery and see what happens. Snip it. See what happens. See what happens if you do it wrong. See what happens when somebody goes under too long and you do the wrong measurements, or you do the wrong administration because you are a bozo doctor, because you think you've been doing it for 30 years, that you're perfect. Get your ass out of here. You're not going to be so perfect to be in the judicial system or to be put underneath the law too for being a fool. Being a beautiful man, being an accurate man, being a man of meekness and humbleness means you are open-minded to learn. If you're not willing to learn, you're not doing it the right way. You got to learn every day, and you got to be cautious every day. That's just the way life operates. Do you not understand? That's as simple as I can put it. If you don't understand, leave your profession and shut your mouth. Go somewhere else. We don't need you. Now that we covered that, woo, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sweating like a dog out here because it just got through raining, and it looks like I just came from the gym. But like I said before on my other audios, you think I'm joking? I suffer for you. Well, I really mean that. Yeah, I can be doing it in the comfort of my home. Inside, I can set up my studio in there, but I'm a natural guy. I told you I'm the Indian chief, so I got to be outside. So anyhow, whoo, man, I tell you, I got to just sweat it out, and it's okay. I do it for you because this message is important, and it's going to reach someone because I care about you, and I do it by action. Okay. Yeah. You may not see me, but there's a lot of work that goes behind this YouTube thing. You understand? It's a lot of work that I'm doing for you. So don't think it's just I'm in front of a microphone having a good time. It's not easy. There's preparations, there's editing, there's fixing, there's research, there's study. There's a lot that goes into it. And every other YouTube content creator or content creator can tell you that it takes work. It's not easy, ladies and gentlemen. They can tell you themselves, yes, Morpheus is right. It's more to it than just what you think. Oh, he's lazy. I don't see him. All I hear is him talking. You know what? It's a lot. Even doing this, it's a lot. So I'm sitting here sweating like a naked elephant. I'm not that big, but just saying, because don't have any hair, and let's keep going. That's funny. Oh man. So the eighth thing is chance. You say, oh, what does that mean, Morpheus? Chance. A man needs chance. Well, sometimes you gotta, let me go ahead and do this. Move this wind visor. If it gets a little loud and windy, so be it. I need to get some wind on my skin. Chance means, just because I know it's your castle, man. I get it, male. Excuse me, male, not man yet. I understand you got your way of doing things, which bridges into your pride and your ego. I know that you've been doing things for 20 years, or doing this for 20 years, whatever your profession is, or whatever that you do. You cut hair, you barber, you work out, you eat, whatever you do. Or you've been making content yourself. I understand that you are set in your ways to a percentage, but sometimes you got to give other people a chance. Just like that UFC fighter gave that other guy a chance to taste victory, to gloat, to feel good about himself. Sometimes you got to give life a chance. You got to be, that goes along with being open-minded. Give things a chance. I know that this society is dangerous. I understand that you can't trust everyone. It has a lot to do with family and kids as well. Oftentimes, the man can be so rigid, and I'm going to make an example like I did before about the broomstick. Sometimes you can be so rigid where you're holding a wooden broomstick and you're holding it so tight and you're sweeping the floor, you can break it because you're holding it so tight. A lot of women have trouble with men who are like this. It's called being non-adventurous. Now we're really getting loud. Hold on. All right, adjust the microphone so it won't be so loud. So to filter out some noise, but some noise will still get in here. So just bear with me. So chance also means being adventurous and opening up their world or their life or their marriage or their relationship to other possibilities. And plenty of women have trouble. That's why sometimes women say, I want a man who travels around. I want a man who owns a boat. I want a man who does things with his life instead of being at home playing video games. What she's actually saying is a man who is about a lot of things, a man who's constantly moving and accepting of other people as well, going around social circles. And a lot of times I get it, understand you don't want to open up your door to the possibility of danger and destruction coming to hurt you, your family, your kids. But a lot of times when you close out the possibility of chances, you can miss something that's very great. I'm a great experience of that, or you can say a testimony. I've told you I've traveled around all over the place, and I've had families and kids with me at the same time. And there may be a guy who gets jealous or upset that I didn't have a woman at the time, but that here I am with all this possibility that I'm getting ready to take a bus to go to, let's say, for example, Chicago somewhere, or Florida. We're getting ready to go to the circus or go somewhere like a theme park. And he'll say, no, I'm not going to do it because I can take them. I can take my own kids there. I can take you there. And the wife is like, well, I just want to spend some time with you, baby. And, go ahead and let Leon C do it. We already paid, and, we know him. He's a good mentor. He's a good, family friend. The list goes on and on and on and on, like I told you before. And the father would still say, no, I don't trust him. No, I'm not going to do it. And I'll take y'all somewhere and I'll do it. And I end up finding out, listen, and listen. This is important. I end up finding out that they did not go anywhere. The children were stuck at home, and he went somewhere for like maybe an hour. They went probably somewhere to the mall for a few minutes or something, or they probably went to go get something to eat and came home. And there was receipts too, so it's not like the girlfriend or the wife would be lying about the situation. She was actually being honest, like, what the hell was this guy thinking? And it happens so often where she began to wonder, what was this guy's problem? And I had to explain to her that a lot of men feel kind of slighted when there's another lion in the field. And let's be honest, I'm not an ugly looking guy. There's a reason why I have 3 companions, or three women, okay, who they're not going to let me go. There's a reason why I call myself the capital A. And actually, I don't call myself that. That's what I am. There's a reason behind it. So there's a thing called intimidation. And so I understand. And so I had explained to her, some men, they don't want another lion near them, their family, or near even their wife or their girlfriend. They don't want that. They don't want to open up the possibility to something happening. It don't matter what type of man I am, even though she knows and I know that I'm not interested in that type of thing. I'm on business. Everything I do is all about business. But most men, they're so closed out where they don't see that there isn't anything dangerous, even though there is possibilities. I understand because I'm a man, but oftentimes that can destroy him in the end, because I got receipts on this. In the end, this woman will leave him. In the end, she ends up either divorcing him or leaving and taking the kids. And it's not because she wants to be with me. It's because she wants to be with somebody like me. And it's because he's holding on to her too tight and not giving the relationship a chance. And when I say like me, okay, I know what you're thinking. Well, it's your fault for coming onto the scene because you're a different guy, and she thought that she could be with somebody like you because you let her know that it was possible. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because when I'm having a discussion with women or family, I don't even come into it like that. I make it absolutely clear that this is clearly business and I'm on a different level, on a different standard. The woman will already be 1 foot out of the door and 1 foot in because of this man. And yes, women do file for divorce 80% of the time, and they make excuses as to why they do it. But a lot of times men give them the incentive to do so. They'll do that. Do you know how pissed off the woman? What happened is, when I come back in town and we all had fun, we had our cotton candy, we was on the rides, or we went ice skating or something like that, when I'm just out and about, they'll ask the kids, what did they do? Or sometimes it will be a friend of a friend. They say, hey, what did you do? Oh man, we went to Kings Island and we was there for like 4 hours. I brought this, and they show you the t-shirt and the hats, and the child that had to stay home with that stubborn father ends up hurt. They end up hurt. They end up mad. They end up resenting the father, or sometimes the mom, for not fighting hard enough to let them get out and do things. And so the mother ends up picking up the negative energy that the father have created within their own kids, because they'll end up saying, my dad never does that. They would never do that. It goes as far as to throwing frisbees and playing ball. Sometimes when I visit a family as a family friend, automatically I bring toys with me, or a football or basketball or a frisbee, just in case. And so what happened is, we're outside throwing frisbee or throwing basketball or whatever we're doing, right? I will ask them, or actually I don't have to ask them. I don't go that far. I'm be honest with you. I really don't, because that's really destroying things and starting trouble. The child will automatically say, whether they're a teenager or younger, they'll say, my dad would never do that. I said, what do you mean? My dad just sits in the house. He don't ever do anything like that. Like, whoa. We're treading somewhere now. What are you talking about? Well, he's just boring. He'll never do that. I said, your dad don't come out here and play baseball with you? It's not hard. It's a good workout. And my dad don't work out like that. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, because the guy do got a powder keg. He is kind of scruffy. He's not even well groomed either. And oftentimes it's because women choose these men. They choose these men, and these men don't stay on top of their game. They don't stay sharp. And it's not because I came onto the scene, because they know they have no opportunity with me. Absolutely not. Especially when I bring either one or two of my companions over there. They know that it's a done deal, because I say, this is my type right here. We're near 23, 24 years old. Some of these women, they're like, the clients are women. They're like 32, 43 years old. So I'm like, nah, I'm good. They know they don't have a chance. No, they didn't want to be with the guy anyway. They just realized that this guy's a scrub. He's a loser. So sometimes you need to understand men, and some men who you may know another man, need to learn how to take a chance, know how to open up your horizons or do different things. If you want to do the same thing, you are a boring ass loser, and women know that, and they're going to leave your ass eventually. So chance has a lot to do with it. It has a lot to do with more than just that. It's more than just what I discussed. Chance means being open-minded, means being flexible, understanding that you have to do something different. Again, like what Einstein said, you can't expect a different result doing the same damn thing. So a lot of men, because of their pride and their ego, they don't let life give them chances. They don't take chances. They don't try to explore. So you end up destroying your marriage. You end up destroying your possibilities and hurting your kids in the process. Because every time somebody's with me, they're spoiled. Whether they're adults or kids, I'm going to make sure they have a good time. And they're going to tell the story and be like, man, oh my God. Oh, Morpheus is fun. You know what we just did? And everybody else who didn't go there or didn't participate, guess what's in the back of their mind? You just missed out. And oftentimes they don't even have to pay. You want me to give you some money for my kid? But like, no, I got it. Don't worry about it. It's covered. Just do you, enjoy your day. Go to wherever you want to go with your husband. Enjoy your time. Your kids will come back and tell you what type of a good adventure that they had. Done deal. But again, it's because of the father's ego. It's because of the man's ego. It's because of his fears and his mistrust issues that oftentimes only lead him to demise, because the world is not as evil. It's not as evil as he think it is. It's his ego that gets in the way, and his arrogance of being here we go again. I'm a man. I'm going to do it because I'm a man. In the end, he's a failure. He's paying child support and he's paying alimony and don't know the hell why. Facts. And I didn't take your girl. You lost her. How about that? I didn't take her. You lost her. Either way it goes, it's a very touchy subject. It's a very long story. The thing about chance, I've made an audio on this because there's so much that I can talk about. It's too big. It talks about trust. It talks about mistrust. It talks about how we are running now in the modern day. But however we spin it, there's always going to be a respect. I have respect for men. I have respect for women and people. And I stay away from all sorts of, I won't say unnecessary drama, but misunderstandings, because I understand that most of us are sick, meaning a lot of us need therapy. A lot of us need to be in a psychologist's office, and we need to get off these medications because it's making us even more crazier by the day. So oftentimes, it's hurt people who hurt people. I mean, if you look at the way how the modern world works, where nobody trusts anybody, everybody is skeptical of everything, and nobody wants to be open to try. Nobody really wants to look at the person or look at anyone like they're, I would say they won't accept anything and anyone, because it's always, you're going to judge that person first before you let that person show you what they're truly capable of. So because of that, if you want evidence, look at the way your world is working. And one of the major states, or you can say countries, is America. If you look at the way America is ran, it's ran by fear and mistrust. A lot of times women want to just, want to go get the bag, do her own thing, and disconnect herself from men because of a lot of past hurt and a lot of fear and a lot of struggle and mistrust. Same as some men. Not all of them, but there is a few of men who just don't trust anyone. They don't trust women. They are very incapable, incapable of being compatible for a social life. You know, they go into hermit mode, and they live in their caves because of fear, mistrust, and not giving life a chance. So it's a big thing. So there's really no realistic point of diving into this part of the man right now, because we don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to talk about it, because it's a very deep subject that touches practically almost everything. And it doesn't apply to just men. It applies to most people, where we have to learn how to give life a chance. We have to learn how to give opportunities a chance. You got to learn how to give probability a chance, because you just might get something or receive something that will be better for you or take you to the next level of your development. The final attribute, essence, and thing in a man is devour. Now, what does this mean, Morpheus? What are you talking about? Devour can go in multiple ways. You can be devouring beauty, that is women, devouring money, alcohol, the lust for life. But in this case, I'm talking about the ability to devour your competition. Yes. Because as you know, men are capable of heavy things. Men are capable of destroying things and of very much harm that is seen and probably not seen as well. And devour takes place with pride, ego, arrogance, and definitely humility. The same as the UFC fighter who could demolish this normal civilian who has no training, no prior training, or the NASCAR driver who lets the other rookie wins by slowing down and pressing the brakes just ever so slightly, just so that new up-and-coming racer can take a pass. Or a lot of you know about this movie called The Biker Boys. Remember The Biker Boys? I forgot what the famous actor was, but he was the guy who played as Morpheus, in The Matrix. But he was also in Biker Boys. And in Biker Boys, I think this was Biker Boys 1, the up-and-coming rookie wanted to challenge this man because he was full of arrogance. The boy was full of pride. He had ego, which is a very good movie to reference when a man is out of place with himself. Or, here again, a boy, which is in a male body, who's out of place, studying and learning how to be a man. Because the champion was my character who played Morpheus. Okay? But during the race, the championship race, it was a motorcycle race, what my character decided to do was let go of the throttle just a little bit. He could have beat that growing boy. He could have beat him. But he wanted him to win because he gave him a chance. What the leader had was humility. He had meekness, open-mindedness. He gave him a chance. Listen, he gave him a chance because he didn't want this boy to win based off of his ego, because the boy had a lot of ego. He didn't want him to win because he would gloat forcefully, just like the civilian would gloat by beating, or here again, fakely beating a UFC fighter, trained fighter. So with his meekness, he gave this boy a chance. He gave him a chance at victory. He gave him a chance at the title. He gave him a chance to challenge him. So what did he do, ladies and gentlemen? He backed down and gave this boy a chance. Now, chance in this situation is trusting that he's not going to make a mistake, trusting that it's not going to get to his head and get him X'd out of life. See what I mean by chance? Do you see why I told you chance is such a big thing? It's such a big thing. It's not just one subject with chance. Chance is heavy. It's too heavy to talk about right now. Because wise leaders, wise men of power, wise men in their own perfection knows the difference between a rookie and an upcoming champion and a champion. Men know who to mess with and who not to mess with. And like I said, I don't like to put myself in the position, but I've been there when I was in school. This was grade school. And this is nothing new because I told you this before, where there was a group of boys in the classroom. And I used to get in the fisticuffs a lot. And they did a lot of gambling. And one of the boys asked one of the other boys in the room, in the classroom, would you fight Leon C? Would you fight him? I'm talking about me, right? And the boy said, no, I ain't gonna fight him. I'm gonna pick up a chair and fight him that way. I'm gonna pick up a chair and hit him with it. And I get things like that often. And as I begin to grow in high school to college, that discussion came up again. But this one was a lot more serious. It was a lot more threatening than anything. Because when the guys will be asked by another guy, hey, would you box Morpheus? Would you take Morpheus on? You think you can take him? You think you can pin him down on the mat? And usually the guys will say, no, I'm not going to try to wrestle this guy. I'm going to just, how can I say it if it's YouTube friendly? I'm just going to shoot him, basically. Now, I'm not going to shoot this guy. And I tried to understand what they meant at the time. And I told you it was a lot of self-discovery. And I don't like talking about myself. I really don't. I hate it. To me, it's very childish and it's tasteless, and I want to edit it out, but it's a part of the lesson. I have to talk about it. And I begin to understand over time why they said that, because some men who are in their males who are growing up to be men, they know what lion to poke and what lion not to poke. You know, they understand the difference between a bear and a pussycat. See, with a pussycat, you can tease around and probably throw a yarn out there and do little light tricks. But when it comes to a bear, that's a totally different animal altogether. That's something that you can't throw a yarn at and this bear is going to be quiet. This bear could, the bear can swipe you, can finish you. And so when it came to fisticuffing, I'm just switching the subject here. It's the same subject, just changing chapter. So next chapter, when it comes to when it used to be where men dealt with reality face to face or get body slammed, they were able to determine who to mess with and who not to mess with. It wasn't because he was 6'5" and 300 pounds. It wasn't because the guy looked like The Rock or looked like Bruce Lee. No, it was because men they were wise. They had an intuition. They knew a man who was about their stuff and a man who was just about talking, full of bluff. You know, the nail that sticks out the furthest gets hammered first. That sort of real philosophy. Another part of Devour is testing the waters. I know it sounds different in the background. Had to make some adjustments. Testing the waters. See, what I have learned about men is they will they want to test you sometimes. Sometimes they want to call your bluff. Now, remember what I said in the beginning about how men like to, sometimes they line themselves up with other men. Sometimes it may be somebody who's immature. It may be somebody who's unprofessional or never had the practices before or never got choked out, whatever the case is. They like to test, or they put you through a trial and error just to see what type of man that you are. So the devourer in man is what I try to help you guys out. I really do my best. And I'm talking about it right now. I know it's like an hour and 27 minutes in. Devour is huge because you got to know what type of animal you're dealing with. You got to know what type of guy you are dealing with. Usually when a man he's humble, he's meek in his behavior, or he's very quiet and he does not showboat his capacity or capability of doing damage. Usually that's a man that you don't want to mess with to begin with, even more so when you don't understand what you're looking at. See, as a professional, I won't say too much. As a person who knows well about fighting, who knows a lot about martial arts, who knows a lot about, military strategy and all that sort of stuff, okay? It's easy to distinguish a man from a boy, or it's easy to distinguish what you're dealing with. So the point of the matter is, devour is oftentimes men need to see what type of damages not only can be done to them, but might be done to them at that particular moment. And they don't realize that let me give you an example. It's hard to explain. Let's say you sit down playing basketball with a basketball video game like NBA or Madden or something like that, which is Madden's football. And 2 or 3 guys may sit there and talk trash about each other and just have a conversation and joke and play and poke each other with humor, which is fine. That's what men do. And there's a thin line where they will say things to insult the other man, which will be okay. Or sometimes there's a limit to it. But if one of the guys go too far into challenging one guy and calling him bluffing, Oh, you can't do that, man. You just a weak man. You a little man. You can't do. You ain't. Really start getting a bit rowdy or a bit ratchet, if you want to use that word. Usually, that's when it's time to stop, because there's a line where there's going to be danger. There's going to be devastation. The the possibility of do harm is a point where it's non-negotiable, where you don't want to go to that point. And so, because men are hardwired, listen, everything that I said, because most men are hardwired with an amount of pride, or you can say just pride and arrogance and ego. This guy may see this monster sitting next to him, this silent, calm monster of a man, okay? And he may not engage him in heavy argumentation, or say, man, hush, man, I don't want to hear that, man, or shut it down. Or, you know what you're talking about, man. Chill out, man. Chill, man. Chill. Don't chill. Like you hear the boys say, it ain't that deep, man. Just let it go, right? Usually the guy who's telling him to chill, or who's being attacked or being talked about verbally, that's the guy who you don't want to mess with. He's telling you to stop. Chill, man. I'm not down with all that. Stop, man. Just watch your mouth. Calm down. Just let it go. Just let it go. At this particular point, you notice in some movies and documentaries, or maybe you see that on social media, where one person ends up getting hurt pretty bad. The guy who told you to stop, fool, and you didn't stop. And now your head's disconnected from your shoulders, and you're on a stretcher or on a gurney, or the police officers are sitting there, and there's tape all over the place because somebody wanted to get stupid. Sometimes I understand when women say, now I get it, men are logical creatures and they have their problems, and let's be honest, women aren't the sharpest crayons out of the crayon box, or the sharpest number 2 pencil out of the out of the box. So I'm not saying that they're better, but when women say sometimes that men are dumb, I can understand that. I get it. That really, it hit home a lot. And nowadays it's becoming more evident with the behavior of these new men who are considered as beta orbiters, or beta shrimps, and white knight soldiers. Because oftentimes there are men like myself and others who are trying to help men in the manosphere. We're trying to bring awareness to you. We're trying to talk to you. And what will happen is, let's say if a man like myself or someone say that we are alpha, okay? Or an alpha. Let's give you an example. Oftentimes you'll get individuals or people say, oh man, nah man, you ain't no alpha. You say you're alpha. Nah man, it's the same thing. Hold on, I gotta get something to drink because my throat is very, very dry. So I'm gonna get this out of the pantry here. I have to walk in the back and get my tea, so bear with me. This has been a difficult audio. It's been kind of difficult and hot, so grab me something to drink here, as you can hear. Yes, it's my steez all over again. Steez get my approval. Shout out to Steez, even though I don't get paid to advertise them. But they are an awesome tea. Ever since the first day I drink them. If you want to pass me something to put a smile on my face like a beer, give me a Steez and you'll be my best friend. My companions don't get me a beer. They're not going to go and get some wine or something like that. They will say, hey, let's go to the health food store and get you some Steez. Oh, thank you, baby. Thank you, baby. Thank you. Anyhow, so you notice that, what will happen is one man or two men or the rest of them will jump on that man who will call himself alpha, okay? And it's still that same scenario: ego, pride, arrogance, and the willingness not to be open-minded and to take a chance. And listen, as a matter of fact, you don't want to take a chance on that one. But when you hear this, you'll immediately hear men want to jump down on them. Oh, you ain't alpha, man. What is alpha? What are you talking about? Nah, man, you fake alpha. You ain't nothing but a fake alpha. You ain't number one alpha. You're not nothing, man. You don't know what you're talking about. This is a good example. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to really think about it. Just calm down and think about it, okay? Let's be adults with this one. I'm going to ask you a question, man to man. And you can say man to woman if you're listening. Listen, please. Listen. Don't hear me. Listen. If I say that I am an alpha, think about it. Think about it. Do you really want to test to see if I'm an alpha? Just sit back and think about it. Think about it. Do you really want, I don't care who you are or what you do, even myself, I'm putting myself in the situation, would I really want to test somebody? If this guy tells me, I punch like Mike Tyson, right? And you see this guy, I know you don't see me, but that's okay, that's fine. But this is for the lesson here. He seems like he's cut and he's rigid. He looked like he's been in the gym since he was 5 years old. Okay. He may not be 6'7", but he's tall enough to make you feel short. Okay. And he don't act like you. He don't talk like you. If he say he's a different monster, do you really want to test out and see? Do you really think that you're going to be okay for taking this Dodge TRX for a ride? Do you really want to do that? Some people are, listen, some men are just stupid and out of your mind. Because you may not come back from that. You may not survive that situation. Oftentimes men do that out of ego and out of bumping their chests. And it's a very stupid thing. That's why I saved this for last. And I purposely use the word devour because the lion, I'm always going to revert to the lion as an alpha image. Okay? Oftentimes the lion is quiet sometimes, or if you see him in his natural habitat, he may not be that big, but he's big enough. And he's sitting there calm and waiting for his next hunt or his next kill or whatever else he's doing. And you may be on the other side of the fence or the other side of the glass. Okay? Why would you need to run all the way over there, mess with the lion, get in the lion's face just to see or experience that this lion can devour you alive? This is the idiocy and the ignorant behavior of your modern man. This is the ignorant behavior. This is the mindset that they have. That's why there's a such thing as prison and the grave. That's why there's a such thing as that. Because that's where they end up eventually. Life is built on learning and studying. Just like, hold on, let me grab something. My soundboard's not activated, so I gotta, because I moved around. Make sure I get this thing together. Bear with me here. This is an unusual audio, but I'm gonna get it together. Let me see if I can get this sound right for you. There we are. Just like men need to understand who's wife material and who isn't wife material. Listen, men. The same as you need to know the difference between a 304 and a virtuous woman. The same as you need to know if she's going to flip out on you or flip in on you. The same as you need to know the difference between snakes, a cobra, a rattlesnake or a regular snake by its colors, by its stripes. The same as you need to understand if your water is healthy for you to drink or not drink. Sometimes if you put spring water next to, what's the other one? I drink it a lot. It's a shame that I don't. It's a shame. Well, next to alkaline water, next to distilled water, they all look like water. And maybe in a certain array of light, you can see that it's different by the color of it. But oftentimes, you can't tell the difference unless there's a label or unless you taste it that it's a different kind of water. Especially if you get the waters from the store. It's a difference. It's important to know the difference. So when you hear someone say, and it's a very egotistical thing when men say that, and I'm going to say it again, when a man tell you that if somebody say that they're alpha, it may not be me, it could be someone else. If they say that they're alpha, that they're not an alpha, you're stupid. You're dumb. Because you need to know the difference. Sometimes you don't know. Just like women can wear a mask on you just to get into your world, just like people can put a wool over your eyes and deceive you. If a man is telling you who he is or what he's capable of, don't be that dummy to test this guy. Don't be the first one to lose your head or your torso. Don't be stupid like that. Life is about education and learning. You need to know the differences. And as a matter of fact, men need to learn how to know themselves. That's why it's valuable as devour. The weak get devoured by the strong. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. The weak get destroyed by the strong. Do you get me? If a man tells you, dude, I'm a different breed, I'm a different type of animal, I'm an alpha, I am not a beta, and I am not a shrimp, don't talk to me like that, don't mess with me like that. He's warning you. Just like a snake start rattling his tail and a cobra rises up from the ground, are you going to be that idiot to say, oh, that's not a cobra, that's just a big worm, that's all it is? If you want to keep playing around like that, you're going to find your corpse getting eaten by worms and you're 6 feet underneath the ground. Don't be that dummy. Don't be that idiot. Would you want men not to know who they are? Would you want a man to say, oh, how are you doing? Oh, I'm just going to figure out all of a sudden that you are an alpha or a beta. Yeah, you will know that by our conversation, sir. Sit there. Yeah, you'll know about the conversation. If you watch and you learn, you'll start seeing the stripes like, oh, this is a different type of guy. This is a different type of man. And you'll be surprised, again, the list. Because of pride, because of arrogance, and because of ego. Let's say, for example, how can I put it? Well, you already know. I don't think I need to beat the dead horse. If you get a group of guys around, 9 or 10 different men, and let's say that a man walks through there and he says, hey, they'll be like, hey, what's going on? Let us probably gonna go somewhere. I'll be like, no, I'm not that type of dude. No, I'm not interested. No. Oh, man, you a scrub, man. You a peon, man. Are you scared? You know how men talk, just joking with each other, giving each other jabs in the shoulder, something like that. Man, where's your woman at, man? And what are you doing? No, I ain't got time for that, man. I don't do that. Man, why you tripping, man? Why you acting like that? He'll say, no, I'm a different type of dude, man. I'm an alpha. I don't play like that. You a what? They'll say, you a what? You an alpha? Oh, no, you not, man. Man, you kidding me, man. No, get on out of here. You a joke, man. You ain't no alpha. And he's just walking through the crowd. The man is, listen. He's telling you he's a different type of animal. Don't F with him. If that's his response to why he doesn't do a thing, do you want to be the first person to find yourself on the ground, face first, where you won't be able to go home to see your family for that night? Sometimes, and I'm going to get off of this bead because I'm going to go down the list and I'm going to let it go. This new generation that we have today, we're in trouble. We're in trouble because we're confused. I've made an audio a while back about what an alpha is. I've explained to you that just because you 6'4" or 6'7", that don't mean over here. You understand? I've seen plenty of men like you who do not no longer exist, or they're in wheelchairs. Yeah, you were 6'7", 6'4", but now you're you know, how tall are you while you sitting in a wheelchair? You're shorter than a girl now because you got stupid. I've met people in China let me stop. You don't need to know all that. I ain't gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. No, Morpheus. No. I'm not gonna do it. I ain't even gonna go there. It's unnecessary. I'm not gonna treat y'all like that. You're not children. We're adults here, right? We're adults here. I think you had enough of that. Sometimes men don't know where the line is. Okay. Just like women should understand their breed of women. There's plenty of women. They all think a certain way. But there's a distinguishing factor between a quality woman versus a low quality woman. A woman who's valuable versus a woman who's not valuable based on the damages that she can do in a relationship. There are several types of men as well. Women understand and they know the differences of certain type of men. And men don't even know the differences of themselves. That's how dumb sometimes the male is. That's why I didn't call you a man. I said male. Because we're so ignorant. Why would you walk around and beat on your chest and if any man rise up and say he's an alpha, he's not an alpha. He's just redundant. You know, he's crazy and out of his mind. Why would you say that when you should be like, okay, here's a section over here, section over there. You're that type of man, you're this type of man, and you're this type of man. Leave it there because you need to know the difference, because otherwise, if you don't understand and you step on the wrong man's toes because you think you're the biggest, baddest wolf in the sea, check this out. That's where you're going to find yourself. Or you're going to find yourself over here. I'm telling you what I know. This is real talk, men and women, if you're listening. There are plenty of men who will walk around and pump their chests up and beat on their chest. You know full well he's not in his place because the nail that sticks out the furthest get hammered. Because he's trying to prove something. That's not how real men act. And that's not how an alpha acts. An alpha acts through action. And it's not going to be based off of ego or pride either. He's going to meet the list of being humble. He's going to be kind. And it's almost going to be like he's this big teddy bear, but he's able to lift you up off of the ground, feet first, if you talk stupid. But he's going to smile at you and be kind to you and help you if you need help. It may seem like he's somewhat of a simp, but he's not. It may seem like he's just this pushover and, oh man, you ain't nobody. You just you're this big, adorable man. You'll never hurt anybody. It may seem that way. He don't have to, and he's not going to, but do you want to poke him to find out? I don't think you do. So, I'm going to go ahead and go down the list, and use your thinker here. Because this is usually the paintwork. I'm going to say the paintwork. This is usually the mechanism of the average male. And put everything that I said together and just imagine the men who you are around. And a lot of them today, listen carefully, a lot of them today, they don't meet a requirement of being even a man. They're just males. A lot of these guys are just so sensitive and soft. They've been raised up on. Let me stop. The list is, let's go for the first list. Number 1 is pride. Basic framework of a man. Number 2, arrogance. arrogance, basic framework of a man. But you can consider these as boys in the male's body, as a matter of fact. Let's not call them men. Let's say that they're boys let's do this again. There are boys in a male body. This is the issues that they have. I said pride and I said arrogance. Next is ego. That's right. 3 toxic, dangerous, destructive things. Now, when they start developing to become a man, listen, when they start growing and maturing and understand how life works, okay, then there comes the humbleness and the humility that either life brings, either his age may bring, or either somebody putting his face in the mat may bring. Now he start reaching his adulthood a little bit, around the ages of 30 and up plus, when he start receiving this ability to be meek, not weak. I didn't say weak, W-E-A-K. I said meek. Meek, humble, seemingly soft, but not soft. Meaning he don't have to break something. He don't have to be aggressive. He don't need to. He can be calm. He's established. Okay? So that's 6. Number 7. 7 is open to learn. Now he's reaching wisdom. Opening to learn. Opening his mind to the possibilities. Thinking and accepting that maybe he don't know everything that he knows. He needs to humble himself. He needs to be calm and think twice before he pokes the bear, because the bear may not poke him back, may just swipe him back, and now he's paralyzed for the rest of his damn life. You get my drift? Number 8. Chance. We talked about that. Chance is a huge thing. He's willing to take positive chance. I didn't say gamble. I didn't say that. If you heard me before, if you didn't make it this far to the end of this audio, okay, this is what you get. I didn't say take unnecessary risks. I said take chances on positive things. Take chances. Open yourself to the possibility that things may go right instead of things going wrong. He's making himself available. He's opening the doors to his kingdom to accept something that might be good. It may be bad as well, but there's good as well as life prospers. We're always negative, we're always closed-minded, and we're always selfish because of the various 3 things that a lot of men don't grow out of, which makes them a steady boy in a male's body, which is the 3 poisonous things: pride, ego, and arrogance. So, and the last is devour. That can be devouring or being devoured. Meaning, if he do not learn and he's still a boy in a male's body, he's going to get devoured. He'll meet somebody like me and think I'm a, can't say that on YouTube, think I'm a chump, okay? And all I got to do is pop them on top of their head and send them along the way. He'll be devoured. Done deal. Don't come talk to me. You've been warned. You've been warned. If I'm telling people I'm at 0 tolerance, and when I say that I am the capital A or an alpha, I'm warning you. I'm telling you, just like a woman who wears tattoos from the top of her shoulders all the way down to her ankles, and she's warning you and telling you something. Tattoos, nose ring, piercing all over the way, colorful hair. A lot of men don't really dress like that, but we carry ourselves a different way. And oftentimes we need to have the conversation because some men don't know because they don't have fathers. Listen, what did I just say? Are you dumb or are you deaf? Some men don't have fathers. Some 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old boys don't have fathers in their life. They don't know what a real man is. And they don't respect authority. So they may come across a man who's just an average Joe and be a pushover. An average milk drinking, soy sucking, retard, soft, redundant dude, which is in the masses, especially in a westernized uncivilization. I keep saying civilized. No, you're uncivilized. In the first world country, USA. So that dude will be a pushover. He's soft and ridiculous, apparently. Have you seen America lately? Soft ass. Okay? So if he don't understand the difference between this average guy, this beta versus an alpha, he's going to find himself hurt or in the hospital. Do you not understand what I'm saying? Or this dude may do stand your ground. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And guess what? The mama is going to be marching out in the street. Oh, my baby. He was only 21 years old. Mel, then you should have brought a father figure in his life, or at least a masculine male. You need to know what type of animal you're dealing with. So that's an example of being devoured. Devouring is when you have a masculine standpoint of view or an alpha standpoint of view, and you wield power, but you don't use it. So you devour the competition should you need to, when it comes to maybe mentally, maybe financially, maybe when it comes to dating. I get that a lot. maybe when it comes to other things. Whatever it is, you are the devourer. You're the lion in the field. And as a lion, you have a responsibility to warn people. You know how when you have a house and you see some people who have a warning sign outside their lawn that says, "Beware of dog. Do not cross the fence." Have you saw that before? They're warning you, don't cross the fence. Now, whether there's truly a dog over there or not, it doesn't matter. Do you want to test it out and see? I mean, mail carriers can tell you that. You want to test it out and see? You want to see if there's a bulldog over there? You may not see the bulldog outside the house. All you may see is the fence. And you may see warning, beware of dog, and you don't see the dog 24 hours, 7 days a week. But you may be that dummy to say, "Oh man, they bush us. Man, I'm about to go over there anyway." Guess what? Guess what? Because you was an idiot. You didn't get it. You didn't get the memo. Oh my goodness. You didn't get it. So, in a nutshell, men got a lot of work to do. And I know this was like 2 hours in, or getting ready to be. It's a long conversation. We got to have this talk. Because I don't blame, but I point a lot of responsibility on men, because they're not men like they used to be. They're just boys in male bodies. And we conflict with each other instead of supporting each other. It should be, okay, go, man. You go get the bag. You go do what you can, man. I got your back. Yeah, do what you do. I support you, brother. Not try to put the next person down and talk about each other. Why are you stepping on each other's toes? You know what? Here's the fact. When another man tries to verbally destroy another male's character, when that other man is saying that maybe he's a decent guy, he could say maybe he's an alpha, maybe he's a woman catcher, he's a magnet, he looks good, or whatever the case may be, or he may showboat his car and his lifestyle, his house, or whatever he's doing. It's always going to be that male who really internally is jealous. He's embarrassed for not having it, and he doesn't like that other guy and want to destroy that other guy's character because he can't match that other guy's potential or level. That's the same as if I say that I'm alpha, why would you try? Why would a person even care that I would say that? Why would you even worry about it when you're on your own square? The only time when someone says anything about it is because, for one, again, jealous. Two, it's men beating their chests. Three, it's that warning sign says, don't cross this line. Warning, there is a dog. Don't test it. And four, that shows you that the guy who is eager or spending the energy or time to try to say that I am not what I say I am is actually what you can say in English terms, a hater and jealous and envious. Because if you're on your square, if he's on his square, why would he worry about who I am? Why would you worry about anybody else if you're taking care of your own life? Why would you be concerned if somebody say that they're the princess? Big deal. They're the princess, whether they have a crown over their head or not. Do you really want to test the princess and she put your ass in prison or something like that? Do you really want to test it? Do you really want her to show you her authority and strip you from all your rights while you standing there in the courtroom because you were standing on foreign land that you didn't even belong to be in to begin with? And she said, "Oh, you're disrespecting foreign policy or something like that." I'm just making up something because I don't know too much about it. Okay, so bear with me. And you sitting there looking stupid because you fined for like $30 million, $40 million or something like that because you tested the princess because you said she wasn't, or you wanted to test to see how far you can go. And now you're broken. Now you look stupid. Do you really want to? And why would it matter? If a woman says she's a princess, let her be. Let her show you she's a princess by what she does and leave her be. Why would you care and try to down her and say, "Oh, she's a princess. She thinks she's a princess." You ain't no princess. Really? Does it matter if she is or not? She's going to be who she is when the clock strikes 12. It's just too many people care about what's in somebody else's bucket. Too many people are too concerned about what the other man is doing instead of supporting the other man or getting on the bandwagon. Men usually need to support each other, but because 80% of the time in marriages and relationships, men become disenfranchised. They get kicked around. They're getting disrespected. They're getting the bad end of the stick. Is because men aren't supporting men. Y'all not supporting each other like you supposed to or like you should. The manosphere is for men. If another man says he's a beta, what you gonna do? He's a beta. If he says he's a shrimp, oh hey, congratulate him. If he says he's the average dude, okay, that's what he is. Either it is or isn't. Let life be life. But again, this is bozo boys who consider themselves as men, but they're in a male's body, and there's too many of them. It's just too many of them. Now, I'm not creating this audio because it has anything to do with alpha and beta. No, I'm giving you example. That's why I didn't want to talk about it. It's just an example. Nobody came to me that way. Nobody said anything about that. I haven't received anything negative according to my teachings according to alpha. So it's not about me. I'm just giving you example what men actually do, maybe on their platform against other men, instead of supporting each other. And all the while, all the women in the country and other people are like, "Oh, these guys are fools. No wonder they're suffering over there in the West. No wonder they're called idiots. No wonder women are saying men are dumb because they act like it." No wonder they say women's brains develop faster than men because y'all act like dumb dogs, ignorant idiots. You don't understand that you need to be supporting each other. A man should be your brother. That's your brother next door, down the street. No matter what color he is. "Hey, brother." What's the issue here? Go outside, play some basketball, drink a beer, call it a damn day, and stop acting like a damn child like you always do. Grow some balls, pull your testicles out, and stop trying to be. Let me stop. We need to grow the hell up. That's what we need to start doing. All these attributes, write them down, study them, and understand, because it might be you. And you want to know what's really bad? The men who really need to be listening to this audio, they're not going to listen to it. They're not going to make it all the way to 2 hours and 4 minutes. You know, they're going to say, oh, that's too long because I got a short attention span because I'm a boy in a male's body and I don't know how to be patient. I can't handle all that because it's too much for me. Or I'm not gonna listen to Alpha Leon C, aka Morpheus, because he think he knows something. So I ain't gonna listen. You know, who do you think he is? Here we go, pride and arrogance. Pride and arrogance. I know too much, man. I've been doing this game for like 30 years, man. Who is trying to tell me what kind of man I am, man? I just go out there and get the pay. I don't care nothing about these dudes, man. That's why most of you men are in the conditions that you're in now in the westernized civilization, because you tucked your balls in between your legs, you sitting on a toilet like a little girl, and you acting like a because that's generally what you are. Bleep that out. That's the lesson for the day. And you got the title, you received it. Now you got a better understanding.